girls with their nails done now.
Oh, what's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new live episode of The Nation. That's my Jeff Goldblum. You're going live. Oh, you're going live right now here on The Nation. Good. Thanks so much for joining me here right off the bat. Excited to be diving into a number of topics that we can jump into here today, including Disney. Disney, the Mouse House, bending the knee to the Orange Daddy there for the DEI situation. One of many companies that we see doing this now across the country and in numerous areas of business. I'm sure mostly just to avoid any kind of lawsuits or attacks or whatever, because there's madness going on there with the bureaucracy in Washington. But we're not just going to focus on that. We're also going to get into stuff that happened there at the Super Bowl, some of the best ads, some of the best trailers, also some of the Kendrick Lamar moments and things of that nature. And we'll also get into other stuff that's going on in the world of entertainment. And of course, a lot of it will be driven by stuff that you guys want to talk about. You guys want me to give my 2 cents on and opine on here in this live episode of The Nation. I'm looking forward to hanging out with you all and talking with you all about it. And thanks to everybody who is joining me right off the bat here. Almost 70 of you hanging out from the beginning. And yes, I am doing this at 4:00 p.m. PT here on the West Coast. Depending on how long this goes, we'll see. My cutoff is 6:00. It all depends on how many people are in here, how the subjects go, how the conversations go, and what have you. But yes, I am going to be seeing Brave New World tonight, so there will be a out of theater reaction later tonight because the embargo is up for social media reactions at 9 p.m. PT tonight. So I don't know if other people have hinted at what their reactions are to the film. I know Christian went and saw it this morning over on the East Coast. I'm not sure what time this morning he went to see it, but he has not texted me his thoughts on it just yet and probably wants to wait till I've seen it so that we can have a conversation about it off the record. So I'm looking forward to it. I hope it's good. The fine folks over at Marvel sent me a Captain America shield there, as you can see. I think I can play it. No, maybe not. Anyway, I don't want to knock any of my Funkos over. But yes, this is it. It comes with a little strap here. So if you want to get this for your kids, it lights up. It makes a noise. Yeah, that's right. So you can swing it. That's right. That's right. You can even, if you want, you could even strap it in like Endgame, a la Endgame, and just be like, let's go, Thanos. You know, you can do all of that. So a lot of fun. Thanks to the Marvel people. Captain America, Brave New World coming out this weekend. They wanted me to kind of throw this into one of my videos or one of my reactions, and I thought I should do it here instead of the out of theater reaction. But maybe I'll add it to my review. But either way, it's going to be up here on the Outlaw Nation Studios. Hoping I don't knock anything over. And another thing I got today, which is a real big surprise, is Reign of Empire, the new Star Wars, The Mask of Fear, Reign of Empire book here from Alexander Freed from Random House. They've sent me stuff here every once in a while to read, so I'm looking forward to reading what is in this and what goes down with this. Basically, it says, in order to ensure the security and continuing stability of the Republic will be reorganized into the first galactic empire for a safe and secure society. With one speech and thunderous applause, Chancellor Palpatine brought the era of the Republic crashing down. And the log line here says, before the rebellion, the Empire reigns in book one of a trilogy told through the eyes of Mon Mothma, Bail Organa, and Saw Gerrera for fans of Andor. So this is going to be fascinating. During the terrifying first year of tyranny, Mon Mothma, Saw Gerrera, and Bail face the encroaching darkness. One day they will be the three architects of the Rebel Alliance. But first, each must find purpose and direction in a changing galaxy while harboring their own secrets, fears, and hopes for a future that may never come unless they act. Wow, does that sound familiar today? And Alexander Freed is the author of the Star Wars Alphabet Squadron trilogy, which a lot of people liked, Star Wars Battlefront, Twilight Company, and the novelization of Star Wars Rogue One. And he's written many short stories, comic books, and video games. Born near Philly. Hey, he must be happy with the Eagles' victory over the weekend. He currently resides in San Francisco, California. So yeah, Star Wars, The Mask of Fear, Reign of the Empire. It is on sale on February 25th of this year. It'll be about $30, and it is 496 pages. So it's a dense little book, and certainly this year I've made it a point to get into reading again. So I will try this out because this is very much my time of Star Wars that I enjoy reading about and being a part of. So I'm very excited to see what this is going to be. And it's the beginning of a trilogy. So there'll be more to come. Certainly that Thrawn trilogy was pretty awesome. So I look forward to see what more we're going to get. Scott D says, going to the premiere. No, Scott, I don't live in Los Angeles, my man. I live in San Diego. So I don't think they're having a premiere here in San Diego. I'm going to a screening, just a simple old screening down the street here. And hopefully it's press only, which is great because that means it won't be chock full of people, so I can sit back, relax, and enjoy the movie. Hopefully it'll be in the biggest screen they have there at that theater, so I can enjoy it. I'm hoping to enjoy it, but you guys know I'll give you my honest opinions when I come out of the theater, when I do my out of theater reaction. You saw my reactions for Craven, not good. You saw my reactions for other movies I've enjoyed. So it just all depends on how it's going to hit me. And I know that a few weeks ago, I had one of my sources who gives me stuff every once in a while reached out to me and said what they're hearing is that it is on the par of Captain America: The First Avenger, which I like. So that makes me kind of that's a positive. That's a positive in my book. So I hope it is something that I enjoy watching. We will see. And then what else? Oh, and we've seen the reports over the last couple of days of people saying like My Time to Shine, hello, and Daniel Richtman saying that they've heard that it is a good film, not a great film, sometime, and a little bit of an okay film. So we'll see what we're going to get in the end. The thing is, this just has to be decent or good just to get us to the next film, which is, of course, Thunderbolts, and then Fantastic Four. And of course, we have Daredevil sandwiched in between that. So this is in there rather, in April. So a lot of things are starting to happen. We're out of January. We're into February. We're almost halfway through February. This is the shortest month of the year. So we're almost out of February. Really, we're 17 days away from being out of February and jumping into March. And then summer season is here. I mean, it's crazy to think about it, that we're 3 weeks away from the summer season being upon us. We know that March summer movie season or summer movie season in March is where it usually starts nowadays, in the middle of March sometime. So get ready. Everybody get ready for all of that for sure. Kinsport Cal said Harloff alluded that it was at least decent. Okay, decent. There you go. I'll take that for now, but Christian's always a little harder on these things than I am. So we'll see in the end what the result of it all is. So I'm looking forward to seeing it. But we're here today to talk about some stuff going on in the world of entertainment, the massive stuff going on in the world of entertainment, and certainly getting into what is happening here with the Disney situation, with DEI, with Trump, all of that. We're going to cover it here on the channel. I don't see all the big sites covering it, but I certainly will be jumping on top of it and taking a look at both of the articles that we had from Variety and THR, breaking down what happened here. So stay tuned for that. Just want to remind you all to please subscribe to the channel down below. If you haven't subscribed yet, would really appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell button, leave your comments on the stuff as we go along in the live chat, but also later for those of you watching later. Please make sure you leave your comments there in the chat. Oh, sorry, in the comment section as well. Keep them civil, keep them respectful. If you're being a jerk, I'll just delete your comment. You can waste half an hour writing 5 paragraphs. Trust me, no one's going to read it because I get the indication. And as soon as it starts out with abrasive language or argumentative language, it's a delete. So, no one will see it. So don't waste your time writing 5 paragraphs if you're just going to be argumentative or an a-hole. Because trust me, no one is going to read it, and it will not stay up there long enough for people to read it or to like it in any way, shape, or form. And I'll probably bar you from the channel. So that's just how I work nowadays, man. I want to keep my comment section chill and relaxed and not overboard, for sure. So let's see, what else are we talking about here? Yeah, those are the things that are happening here. But I just want to remind you also that the Streamlabs and Super Chats are open. I already see a few Super Chats that have come through. Please remember the Streamlabs are open as well. Would love for you all to send in some support, send in some love as we do these live shows. I want to continue to do more of these live shows. in order to do so, I want to make sure that enough people are watching and that people are contributing, if they can, of course, obviously, to the show and sending in their love in that way. And I'll pin this in the chat right now. It is above my head, though. You see the Streamlabs there right above my head. I will pin it in the chat right now for anybody who is looking to find the Streamlabs address and wants to send in some support here for us on the channel. All right, there we go. All right, one last thing, I guess, before we get into things. How are you all doing? I had a bit of a rough day today. Woke up a little bit kind of out of sorts. Had the those old feelings come back a little bit during the first part of the day. So I had to kind of take a couple hours actually to kind of sit down and like, okay, let's examine what's happening. Let's look at what's happening. Let's see what we're feeling. Let's listen to some music. Let's put ourselves in the right frame of mind. Let's read a couple of articles to kind of get us in a better place. Because sometimes when you wake up and you're not fully have your defenses up, you can start doom scrolling, and that can be a bad thing for you. So you don't want to do that. You want to kind of get yourself a little more squared away in the world. And so unfortunately for me, it caught me today, but I was able to rally eventually and be in a better place. I would have gone live earlier, but I wanted to kind of, give myself time to process things. So if any of you are in a rough place right now or feeling a bit down on a Tuesday, just want to tell you that you're not alone. And a lot of us go through these things. You wake up, you don't know what you're going to feel like when you wake up in the morning sometimes. And sometimes it kind of comes for you when you're not looking or when you're not aware of it, and you just kind of navigate it. So, just letting you all know we all go through it. And if you're going through some tough times today, I am here. Hopefully I can entertain you. Hopefully I can pick up your spirits, make you smile, make you laugh, or say something foolish that makes you laugh, which is always a possibility with me going live. Just sending love to all of you out there who are maybe struggling or having some tough times today or over the last few days as well, because we know these things come on whenever they come on, and sometimes you're gonna just have to navigate them as best you can and come on out of it. And certainly I did, and that's how it works. So all right, Marco saying feeling like I need to unplug more, maybe just take a break from Twitter and the endless news cycle for now. We're not meant to read and digest hundreds of opinions per day. You're right, we never used to do that, but we do that now seemingly for some reason. Played out saying exercise, man, go for a walk. That's true. It's not always easy, though. It's not always easy when you get kind of stuck in the doom scroll. It's really hard to even feel the energy to walk out the door. That's the truth for some of us who have some really strong mental health stuff that we have to navigate when it comes for us. It's not always easy to just get up and go for a walk. It's one of the hardest things sometimes to get your body to respond to what you want it to do so that you can put it in a better place. So, but I appreciate the suggestion. Absolutely. Very, very cool of you to suggest all of that. Music helps a lot, I think, for some people as well. Watching an old show. For me, sometimes I watch old Liverpool highlights. That kind of gets me in a better frame of mind, seeing how they overcome adversity, seeing how they overcome some of the trials and tribulations to get a victory or to score some goals or whatever. There's those little things. I know it's foolish and you can say, oh, why does sports matter so much? But, it kind of does. So I'll leave it at that. All right, over 200 of you joining me right now. Thanks so much. Really appreciate it, man. I think we've gotten to a good number where we can start the show. So thanks for putting up with my intros and just a general promotional stuff that I felt the need to do here to start off the show. And let's get into the show here. Let's get into the show. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate that. You never walk alone as well, my friend, as well. All right, let's where is it? Let's find this thing. Let's bring it up here. All right, so we'll bring the THR article up first from Winston Cho, and then we'll read the Variety article here from Jennifer Maz to see if there are any differences. Usually it's mostly overlapping stuff, but we'll see here as we go along. But let's bring it up here. All right, let's do the THR one first. Let's share it. Make sure I've got the right thing going on here. Is that right? No. We should do this one, right? Oh, I always forget how to do this. All right. So anyway, we'll do that one. We'll make it a little bit bigger. So where is it? View, zoom in. All right. Let's zoom in here. How does that look on the screen? Oh, a little bit more. Am I here? There we go. Am I here? Oh, maybe that's better. I wish I could make myself a little bit smaller. Like it's just a kind of, oh, well, I guess we could do that, but All right, fine. I guess we'll do that. We'll take the banner down. Boom. There we go. A little weird in the background. Let me see if I can do this. Yeah, no, this. Yeah, there we go. That's a cool little background. So let's play around with that as we go through all of this. So, all right, let's read this thing and let's go through it step by step. All right, here's the name of the article is Disney stepping back from some DEI efforts as Trump takes power. This was dropped today at 10:45 this morning. The changes come amid a campaign against programs intended to boost diversity in the private sector for allegedly violating civil rights laws. So, in a move to try and ensure that it doesn't wind up in the crosshairs of the Trump administration's campaign against diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, Disney appears to be rolling back some of its DEI efforts. The entertainment giant, in its latest filing to regulators, scrubbed references to the Reimagine Tomorrow initiative, which launched in 2021 with the purpose of amplifying underrepresented voices. It also didn't mention employee development programs and fellowships for underrepresented talent, instead noting an existing initiative intended to hire military veterans. Now, let's take a look at this real quick with this paragraph, right? Right off the bat, in its latest filing, it scrubbed references to Reimagine Tomorrow, which was about amplifying underrepresented voices. It also didn't mention employment development programs and fellowships for underrepresented. So it didn't mention these programs. Now, these programs might still be in place, might not be in place, but they were not mentioned in these filings to regulators. But they noted an existing initiative intended to hire military veterans. So clearly they are playing to the right political rights, right? And to Trump and to all the people on the right by doing this, because the military veterans, can't touch them. And as a military guy, and as I guess technically a veteran because I served during a time of war, this is in essence what they're saying, that they're like, okay, we'll do this for the military veterans, but we won't do this for people, underrepresented people. We won't mention it. We won't talk about it. So yeah, it's an interesting approach here. They're trying to placate the right, who are, of course, military, obsessed with the military, not obsessed with taking care of the military, but they're certainly obsessed with, the military being a strong force and all the no DEI in the military. Well, what about these people when they come back? I can't pay attention to that. Exactly. The pivot was outlined in a note to employees sent Tuesday from Chief Human Resources Officer Sonia Coleman. It includes a new, quote, talent strategy, unquote, factor to executive compensation planning that assesses how leaders uphold our company values, incorporate different perspectives to drive business success, cultivate an environment where all employees can thrive, and sustain a robust pipeline to ensure long-term organizational strength. Now, I saw some of you saying, wow, this is, there's not much in this article. Bullshit. There is a lot in this article. And if you're using your analytical brain, you can separate these things out and take a look at them and go deeper, right? She said they're including a new talent strategy factor. New talent strategy factor implies that the previous talent strategy factor, which was to find people from underrepresented communities and give them opportunities to be a part of the Disney company, they are no longer using that strategy, talent strategy. They are now using another talent strategy that assesses how leaders, quote, uphold our company values, incorporate different perspectives to drive business success, cultivate an environment where all employees can thrive, and sustain a robust pipeline to ensure long-term organizational. So you look at this and you go, incorporate different perspectives to drive business success. Now, that could be really generalized language to imply or wink at the diverse voices in the room to say you're the different perspectives to drive business success. Or the other way to look at it is, well, in the past, we've kind of ignored this other side of things, being the voices that had been there before, to give more precedence to voices of color or women in the room to hear from them. Now we're going to change it to have different perspectives. And it says an environment where all employees can thrive, right? Once again, this idea that the right is using to come after DEI, it should be merit-based. It should be merit-based, even though never in the history of the United States or any other country has it ever been merit-based. Never, okay? Never has it been 100% merit-based. Never. People hired their cousins, their wives, their kids, their friends, their buddies, their golf pros. People have hired all those, their golf buddies, rather. People have hired all kinds of people for these jobs. And yes, people have hired only white people for jobs sometimes in the past because they've only felt comfortable working with white people for times in the past. Only white males for a lot of times in the past. So this idea here, as you can see, it's like all we want to do merit-based, which has never been the way of things here in the United States ever. Okay, it has never been merit-based. It is always about who you know, if people can vouch for you, that this person who's hiring knows. So there's ways to circumvent all of that, and that has been since the dawn of time in this country, probably the dawn of time in any country, all the way back to the birth of Christ, for God's sake. So it's just ridiculous to think that now all of a sudden it is this whole thing where, okay, now it's going to be merit-based. And with a lot of DEI, that usage of the term now has become in essence a racist term, and it's what it's being used as by the right. They can't say black, and they can't say people of color, and they can't say women, so they say DEI. And never mind that already we've seen incredibly incompetent white people being hired to be in cabinet positions in the Trump administration, incompetent press secretary who has hardly any credentials to be in this situation as a press secretary. When you compare her resume to the press secretary that was there, Karine Jean-Pierre, for Biden, it's not even a contest. She is inadequate in comparison to Karine Jean-Pierre. So you see that overall, and we all know the edict that people of color and women have to work 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 times as hard as white people to get the job, keep the job, be promoted at the job. That has always been the case. You know, Stephen A. talked about this on Real Time with Bill Maher the other night, and he said, look, the thing with DEI, fine, you want to get rid of it, but don't get rid of it without being aware of why it was put in place. I think he's walking the middle ground to please both sides, but he's trying to make it clear, like, the reason that affirmative action and these programs are put in place to create inclusivity, to open the door for people of color and women to have more opportunities, was so that because they were being locked out, they're being barred, they weren't being allowed into those halls of power because white men wanted to retain control of it and hire their buddies and work with the people they know. It isn't always, not like everybody who was hired was friends with somebody, but majority of the, no, I don't want to say majority of the time, but that was a pattern, right? And so we were seeing that less and less voices were being heard. Now, Bill tried to counter by saying, well, look at the tech industry. Programs were set up for women to succeed in the tech industry, and it's only increased by 1%. But the counter to that is that's because when women step into the tech industry, there's a lot of sexism and a lot of derogatory things that they have to endure from some of these tech bros in the who are incels on the tech side of things, who feel that they can talk down, browbeat, embarrass, and sexually make sexually inappropriate comments and possibly sexually assault some of these women who go into the tech sector. So that may be some of the reasons why it hasn't gone as high, because we saw what happened with Gamergate and all that nonsense. So, you know, we see that. So anyway, the changes come amid an escalating drive by the government against DEI programs hosted by private companies. Trump has issued an executive order directing investigation of allegedly illegal DEI policies for violation of federal civil rights laws, though it remains unclear what he's referencing amid other changes. Well, I can tell you what he's referencing. He's absolutely referencing the idea that, oh, there we go. We can do it that way. The idea, oh, there we go. All right, cool. We'll do it that way. He's absolutely referencing the idea that, oh, white people were passed over so that people of color and women, or white men were passed over so that people of color and women could be promoted to these positions, as if this country isn't predominantly white, you know, creating a little bit of space and making sure people adhere to it for people of color and women is somehow a crime. But whatever. I mean, you know, they're going to fabricate whatever nonsense they're going to fabricate for themselves to go through with this. The pressure from the government to eliminate programs that exclude certain groups on the basis of race has prompted several companies to retreat from efforts to boost diversity among their ranks. Right. They've basically bullied and intimidated these companies to get rid of their DEI programs and their DEI offices, which weren't there to kick out white people. They were there to make sure that certain people, that people of color that women, that indigenous people, the LGBTQ plus people had opportunities to get it through the door with comparable resumes, if not better resumes, because we were seeing people who were being overlooked with great resumes from those communities in favor of white people with way less competent resumes in the past. And that's why these programs were put in place, and so we'll see that here. Although a chunk of the private sector started shying away from explicitly mentioning race in those initiatives before Trump's inauguration, the withdrawal escalated when he took office. Yeah, we've seen that. Meta, Amazon, and Google have started eliminating diversity programs amid the shifting policy landscape. Disney, like most other companies, doesn't explicitly mention race in its DEI objectives in favor of underrepresented backgrounds. Its concerns revolve around the possibility that these programs, including one requiring that at least half of producer and writing staff come from underrepresented groups, establish discriminatory hiring quotas. Now, I think there's some validity to this in order to be fair, right? The idea that you are being forced to hire half of your staff from these communities, I think there's where it's a little bit like, well, you're asking me to fill a box rather than me going out to find people from those communities who I can bring into this office and bring into this writing room or into the staffing area and have them step forward and step up to the plate and be excellent at what they do and guide them to be excellent at what they do, And so I think there is a little bit of the idea of forcing people to do certain things. That's something that a lot of creators have had issues with. Certainly that sprawling profile of Taylor Sheridan from a few months ago, where he made it really clear that he doesn't want to be told what to do and who to staff, and he would just staff a writing staff and put them in the room and have them sit there and do nothing and get paid, and he writes all the scripts. That's how he would counter all of that. So I think the idea of having half of a producer and writing staff come from underrepresented groups is a little dangerous, because that doesn't actually represent the percentages in the country. So that's where it gets a little, I think there's a little leeway there that we could have gone a little lower than half in order to create something of a more reflective and accurately reflective writer's room to the people that are in our country and in our world. In December, a new framework was added to Disney's corporate impact website. The memo from Coleman notes that it's, quote, rooted in our efforts to enhance our employee experience and marks the evolution of the significant work done with Reimagine Tomorrow. In the securities filing, the company still notes an executive incubator and creative talent development program intended to promote individuals from underrepresented groups. So it didn't get rid of that. Very clearly, there is a desire to at least give somewhat of an avenue to underrepresented groups. But of course, it seems like the right is arguing that white people now qualify as underrepresented groups because they're not being hired in the same numbers that they were being hired before, that they're losing out on opportunities to people of color, to women. And the implication is that those people are somehow less qualified than the white people being put up for these jobs. I've rarely, if ever, found that to be the case in the numerous jobs and businesses I have worked in. And I did that for well over 3 decades, working in regular jobs until I was about, until about 2020 is when things changed and I started running the YouTube channel. But like before that, from 15 years old on, I had worked in numerous jobs, numerous businesses, numerous places, and seen the practice be that it was consistently white people getting hired over people of color and women, and some people being completely less qualified in those jobs. Other changes are being contemplated. The one target content advisories implemented in 2020. Now, this is a big one. Content advisories implemented in 2020. Classic Disney animated live action titles like Peter Pan, the Aristocats, and Dumbo. According to a person familiar with the situation, who notes that it will move from the beginning of movies to an informational tab. The notice states this program includes negative depictions and/or mistreatment of people or cultures. That's what it used to say, right? It used to say, "Oh, is this the new notice?" The program includes. Okay. Disney Plus has put warnings about, quote, outdated cultural depictions on its film titles since launching, but the latest language went a step further in cautioning against racist and culturally insensitive depictions in its movies. The studio consulted with a third-party advisory council that included groups the African American Film Critics Association, Coalition of Asian Pacifics in Entertainment, and GLAAD, among others. Now, in recent years, Disney has been criticized by conservatives for adding racially diverse and gay characters in movies. Oh, the crime. In a November 29th interview at the New York Times Dealbook event, weeks after the Marvels underperformed its box office bow en route to a $206 million globally. Oh, sorry, let me read that again. In a November 29th interview at New York Times Dealbook event, weeks after the Marvels underperformed in its box office bow en route to $206 million globally, Disney CEO Bob Iger acknowledged the impact of Disney's culture war critics on its operations. Creators, this is what Iger said, which I think Iger is completely wrong about this, but he said this to appease those anti-woke, some of them racist, some of them sexist commentators who came after Disney, saying creators lost sight of what their number one objective needed to be. We have to entertain first. It's not about messages. What a load of horse shit. Disney has been about messages since its fucking inception. It has been about messages. It is constantly, a lot of people have used Disney in conjunction with the Bible for decades to teach their kids about morality, about being open to other people, about not judging people by their color, by where they come from, by their skin color, rather, by their circumstance. There are so many messages throughout all the Disney movies for decades. It's only when the anti-woke people saw they could make money getting upset about stuff that Disney had already been doing for decades that all of a sudden they got upset about this, or Bob Iger felt the need to say this. And it's utter nonsense. It is utter nonsense. Disney has always been about messages, always been about messaging. Go all the way back to Pinocchio. What's that about being a real boy? What is the experience? What does he go through? It's all about feeling othered. He is not real. He is wooden. He is not like the other people. He has a defect. There's something wrong with him, right? All he wants to do is to be accepted. All he wants to do is to be like everyone else and be seen as like everyone else. And his big wish is to be a real boy. You can make that, you can extrapolate that, you can pull that out. A real boy meaning I want to be just like everyone else. I want to be one of those people. So you see the messages there 100% throughout, right? The idea of love being something that's really important in someone's life and all of that. That's also messaging in the film. I'm not saying that love is exclusively for just people of color. I'm saying that the idea of love is a message that you've seen throughout all of Disney's content. So this idea of Iger, it's only entertaining and we shouldn't worry about messaging. It's nonsense. Even the most recent Disney fair, all of it has messages. All of it has messages about accepting people for who they are, about not judging your children or your parents through a certain prism, like finding common ground, finding a way to put down your anger towards each other and work together, unity. Like there's all kinds of messages throughout Disney content, both live action, animated, and otherwise. That it's nonsense to say that no messages. It's ridiculous. Last year, Disney's DEI programs came under attack by Stephen Miller's America First Legal Foundation, which claimed that initiatives to boost diversity and inclusion violate civil rights laws and have tanked the entertainment giant's value. Now, this is the thing that's frustrating, right? Because like white people are already a majority of this country. They are already almost all the content you see on television is white driven, white leads, white executive producers, white directors, white, it's all over the place. And so what happened was, in my opinion, I've always felt this way over the last few years, and is certainly seeing the pushback from some people on the right, is that they were happy to give the crumbs off their table to people of color or women. Once people of color or women felt like, and LGBTQ community felt like, hey, we want a piece of the pie. We don't just want the crumbs that you deign to give us. We want a piece of the pie. Then it became, you're violating our civil rights. Why are you being racist towards white people? Why are you coming? And it's utter nonsense, just utter nonsense. And so it's heartbreaking to see all of these companies bending the knee to this DEI situation. At the time, the entertainment giant continued to fight a high-profile legal battle with Governor Ron DeSantis over control of its special tax district that afforded the company special privileges in the state to control the land its sprawling theme parks sit on. Like America First, the Republican governor attacked the company for, quote, woke decisions around content Also at play is a lawsuit filed by Gina Carano for discrimination and wrongful termination after she was allegedly fired from the Mandalorian over a series of social media posts. She wasn't fired. She was simply not rehired. Elon Musk, who commented that Iger should be, quote, fired immediately after Disney pulled ads from X, is funding the litigation. No surprise. I mean, no surprise that Elon is funding this nonsense. And of course, you saw him today holding court there in the White House. I don't know if you guys saw that today with Trump and his son, using his son as a prop, in essence, to smooth the edges over of Elon. So that this was a very sociopathic move to use his son to kind of let people see, oh, look, he's a dad. He's a human being. He's a regular guy, it's nonsense. This is all about them taking over everything, and I tweeted this out. I said this to Jeff, right, a few weeks ago on the hot mic. I said that Trump absolutely cares what content is being pumped out from all of these studios. Look what he just did with the Kennedy Center. He is taking over the Kennedys, firing people from the board. He is going to take over the Kennedy Center board, and he is going to put up plays that he wants to put. They have to approve the plays. The plays have to be approved by him and his board, the people he installs on the board, which are only going to want to put up white led or white positive type of shows. Those are the shows that are going to be up there. Maybe they'll give one show to a person of color to be like, look, we care about people of color. Look, we're doing our token show. In essence, that's what it would be, but it's ridiculous. He wants to control everything, right? And when the reporter followed back on him, I don't know if you guys saw this, when the reporter followed back on him about the Kennedy Center, when he had said, well, the plays they're putting on, they're pretty terrible plays. They're DEI plays. They're not plays. She said, have you seen any of these plays? And he said, no, my friends told me. Oh, well, if your friends told you they were terrible, well, then you've totally got a right to do whatever you want to do with that stuff. So yeah, of course. No, go ahead. So you see what I'm saying? This is kind of infantile logic that is supremely frustrating to deal with when you're a person of intelligence and maturity, and you're having to deal with this nonsense because these people are rich, and they think because they're rich, they somehow have value in what they think how society should function. And nothing could be further from the truth. Honestly, nothing could be further from the truth. So let's move on to this other thing. And please keep sending in your Streamlabs super chats as we go along. I will take a break after I read the variety one, and then we'll look at some of the comments you guys are making about this to hear what you all think. As I said, this one's written by Jennifer Maz. I'll zoom in on this one as well. Let me get a little bit closer with this one. All right, so this one, Disney Plus to change content warnings ahead of Dumbo, Peter Pan, and more old movies amid DEI strategy shift. So Disney's adjusting content warnings ahead of some of its old movies, including Peter Pan and Dumbo, amid an overall shift in DEI strategy. We've covered that. As first reported by Axios and confirmed by Variety, Disney is changing the disclaimer that auto plays before these titles. This is what I wanted to get at in the previous article. Let's look at this. The previous version noted that the film includes, that's a definite, a factual statement. It includes negative depictions and or mistreatment of peoples or cultures. The new version reads, this program is presented as originally created and may contain stereotypes or negative depictions. So you all might think it's semantics or it's splitting hairs or it doesn't matter. And I've already heard from a couple of people on Twitter who are like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. And of course, they're white. It's not going to affect them. But this is actually a thing that is real. And I saw a lot of people get upset about this and push back on this, as if having this disclaimer is somehow an offense, which I think is so childish. It's saying includes negative depictions and or mistreatment of people. That's being culturally sensitive because we were different, or people who made this content were different back then than they are now. I mean, have you seen some of the old Looney Tunes content during World War II? Where you're seeing all kinds of horrific Asian stereotypes? What if Looney Tunes put out a thing that said, well, it may contain stereotypes or negative depictions? I mean, it's up to you to see how you feel about it, but it may, as opposed to saying, no, this does. And we're proud to say that it does because we made this was a regime from the past. This was how it was in the past. But we just want to warn you ahead of time for people who are people of color or Asian or Native American, because a lot of terrible Native American stuff in Disney's past and in some of the cartoons of the past and films of the past. And so you see that, and depiction of women in certain ways. So there's a lot of this, but people are so sensitive. Like, that's what makes me laugh. Like the right is the one saying to you, "Oh, you snowflakes, you sensitive little snowflakes." But the second you put up a person of color or a woman in a position, or LGBTQ plus person in a position, it's DEI, screaming their fool heads off and going crazy and being super sensitive little babies about it. And so to me, it's just so damn frustrating because there's nothing wrong with being culturally sensitive. Why is that such a horrible thing to be for some of these people? It's mind blowing. It really is mind blowing, And I've talked to people over the years who have said like, "Well, you're coming for my grandmother, you're coming for my grandfather." Yeah, and you know what? We're not coming for them personally. We're just saying that things in the past here, they had a certain point of view, but we have evolved, we have progressed, we have achieved a different state of mind overall culturally. And so we're going to be sensitive about it by saying, hey, this is the content. We're going to present it in its original form, but this does contain negative depictions and or mistreatment of peoples or cultures. We take responsibility. We own up to it. I think that should be rewarded and lauded, not this whole like, oh, no, don't change what I liked from back then. Why should stubbornness, obnoxiousness, and ignorance be rewarded over intelligence, empathy, and understanding? I will never get that. I will never get that in how that's an issue for so many people. Anyway, in November of 2019, Disney first added content warnings to movies such as Dumbo due to racist depictions found in the films created by Disney in the 1940s and 1950s. And the situation there, Disney changed the wording in October of 2020 to the longer content warning. This program includes negative depictions and or mistreatment of people or cultures. These stereotypes are wrong then and are wrong now. Rather than remove this content, we want to acknowledge its harmful impact, learn from it, and spark conversation to create a more inclusive future together. Disney is committed to creating stories with inspirational and aspirational themes that reflect the rich diversity of the human experience around the globe. I'd like to think that was under Bob Iger's rule. And if it was under Bob Chapek's rule, I give him even more credit for being even more decisive and firm about what it is, but also saying we want to create a conversation to lead to inclusivity for people to understand. But now it has reverted back to the content it had before in 2019, saying it may. As opposed now, we did hear from the Human Resources Officer, Sonia Coleman, the Chief Human Resources Officer, talking about the DEI stuff. She said, we want to create a welcoming and respectful environment for our employees and guests is core to our company culture and our business, our values, integrity, creativity, collaboration, community, inclusion, not diversity. Notice that word is missing. Guide our actions and how do we treat each other. Today, I want to provide an update on how our values are embedded in our leader compensation program, specifically our other performance factors, as well as share some of the work that has been underway to evolve our talent strategy consistent with these values. I'm not going to read all that because that's a lot that they've got here going on. But yeah, this is where you get into a situation. Okay, community. We learn from and support underserved communities by establishing and investing in impactful relationships with organizations and business stakeholders. So this is all kind of surface stuff. Culture. We purposely champion a culture where everyone belongs and contribute and can contribute to our business success, right? All lives matter. That's essentially all lives matter. People, we reach and attract the best, most talented people around the world and foster barrier-free talent processes for everyone. So there it is, barrier-free talent. That's essentially saying no more DEI programs to try to get underrepresented people into the room. We're going to leave it to other people to hire the people they want to hire. And already the numbers have not gone up that high. If you look at the recent studies from a number of third parties looking at TV studios and film studios and the hiring of people of color and the hiring of women, the percentages have not gone that high or not have not like really blown up in favor of people of color, LGBTQ plus people and women. It has not gone high. So this is once again a fabricated narrative pushed by the right wing and the anti-woke YouTubers who are making bank off people's incel anger about this stuff. This is where you, or anger about this stuff, incel or otherwise, but this is what's being pushed. And this is what you see overall. And it's like, it's utter nonsense. It's just utter nonsense. You know, we're trying to create paths in a predominantly white ruled world, which I'm not saying that in a negative way or derogatory way. I'm saying it, this is the fact. This is the reality. So to create avenues so that people of color can come through and women can come through and LGBTQ plus people can come through and find opportunities to create incredible work, that should be available to them. And you say, well, that's what's happening now with these changes. No, it won't. The reason we made these changes is because the white people who were in power weren't hiring people of color, weren't hiring women at large numbers, or not large numbers. I mean, how can I say this? Percentage-wise, correlative numbers to give them access and give them opportunity. That it was not the way. And this idea that, they were only hiring people of color who were incompetent or somehow weren't, you still had to have competence. You still had to have a pretty good resume to get through the door in order to be considered for these positions. They weren't grabbing people of color off the street or women off the street or LGBTQ plus people off the street without a resume and throwing them into jobs. This is the stupidly ridiculous narrative that they push. This idea, well, I'm not going to fly with a black pilot, a DEI pilot, or a female pilot. It's like, how many white pilots have crashed planes? What are you talking about? So it's this kind of thing that I just wish we would get past and destroy this narrative. And sadly, because Trump won by 2 million votes of the popular vote, he thinks he's got some kind of mandate or ultimatum to push his beliefs and points of views and narratives about what should be done in our country. And I think that's a dangerous approach to what should be done in our country, because it will exclude people. It will leave people behind. And as we see now, all these supposed cuts to fraud and all this stuff that's happening, real people are being affected because there are no cuts to fraud happening, literally none. There are fabricated stuff that's happening that they claim is an issue, yet they're not showing any of their work. They're just saying, trust me, I know. And there's plenty of people on the right who are going, well, yes, I trust Elon. I love Elon. And I'm going to give you one guess who those people are who do that kind of stuff. And so we're coming to a place now where it's becoming very, very sad and frustrating, because I think people of color, I think LGBTQ plus people, I think women have made strides over the last few years to have a bigger voice in the entertainment world, a bigger voice in the cultural world. And we have benefited from it, from seeing some amazing movies, TV shows, music, art, whatever you want to say, created by people who got the opportunity through these venues, through these openings, through these mandates, But it's so, I don't know, it's just a complicated thing, because you see it happening in the NFL with the Rooney Rule, where teams are told you have to interview a black candidate before you hire your coach. And we're seeing so many of these teams, we see it leak that they're interested in this particular white coach, but they go through the steps of interviewing black coaches, but it's all just like window dressing in order to hire the white coach they wanted to hire from the beginning. And they go, well, we adhered to the Rooney Rule, like we respected the Rooney Rule. The truth is, people have to change, and overall, people have to change to much more open, accepting, inclusive, diverse point of view, so that you can appreciate and respect all the voices in the room. And you have to open the door to more voices being in the room. What was a big complaint with the Oscars? For decades, it was a bunch of old white men deciding what were the winners of all of those Oscars. Right now, the body is much more inclusive. It's younger. There's more people of color, LGBTQ plus people, women. So now we're getting movies that are much more reflective of the entertainment overall and the great artwork that is happening in the world. I mean, 10 years ago, Nickel Boys wouldn't have been nominated. The Substance wouldn't have been nominated. What else is out there that was pretty incredible to be nominated? Like, there's quite a few films. I'm Still Here. Like, that would have never been nominated. So you're seeing that we're becoming a much more global approach to the terms of to art and how we approach art and culture. And I think that's a good thing. I don't recall that being a bad thing ever in our lives. So it's an interesting situation when you look at it. Yeah, or The Brutalist. Well, I think The Brutalist would have got there. Yeah. Michael Baldwin says the Patriots hired a black coach. Yes, they gave him 1 year and then they fired his ass. They gave him a shitty staff, a shitty team with shitty players, and they didn't do well, and they fired him after 1 year. Belichick didn't win the Super Bowl in his first year as coach. Now they brought in their guy because they want their Patriot guy. They gave him 1 year, right? They gave the black coach 1 year in New England, a historically racist place, so give me a break. They hired a black coach, big deal. They didn't stay with that coach. They didn't like stick by that coach as he overcame stuff and got better and learned on the job. I think the same thing is going to happen to the Raiders. Antonio Pierce is totally going to, well, I guess he was let go. So, we're seeing that in so many ways. That being said, we just had a Super Bowl with 2 black quarterbacks, which I thought was really great. And then we would have had, if Jaden Daniels had won, it would have been another situation with 2 black quarterbacks as well in the Super Bowl. So the fact that 3 out of 4 of the quarterbacks there in the championship games were black is incredible. I mean, because I remember a time when black quarterbacks were not even allowed to play, not because they weren't able to do the job, but because the stigma was that they were too stupid to play the position. That's the honest truth. Go back and research history. In my lifetime, I have seen businesses, I have seen sports teams, I have seen companies, I have seen studios, I have seen so many things where the denigration of people of color, of black people, of LGBTQ people, of women was consistently that they couldn't do the job because they were too stupid, they were uneducated, they were too emotional, they were incompetent. And every single thing they hung the white majority hung on black people, people of color, LGBTQ plus community, and women, they did themselves in all kinds of ways in those companies, on those sports teams, in those businesses, and what have you. So it's just the way we see it now. Look, and some of you may be, Rocha is going. No, it's not that. I'm saying I want equality. I want equality. But I don't trust certain people who are in charge to want equality because I've never seen them live up to that. And I have spent decades seeing them not live up to that value and that objective, And look at how many black people did Trump hire to put on his in his administration? I mean, that speaks volumes. He used Byron Donalds. He used all the guys there to push himself up the chain. Ben Carson, all these other people, and boom, there he is, and then doesn't hire. And so it's just, it's mind blowing on so many levels. Yeah, Eugene. Yes, black women too angry. Never mind, Eugene, that black women have saved this country numerous times and are probably going to have to do it again as we go into the election cycle for the House of Representatives over the next couple of years, and then the presidency the next 4 years. Although Trump is trying to stay in past 2028. We'll see what happens with all of that. So, all right. So let's stop there for this particular subject. I've been talking about it for a little bit. I'm going to take a drink. I do want to say, though, I get that if you're a white person and you've been passed over for a job because of a person of color, I understand your frustration. I understand that the pendulum has swung back the other way, and it's angered you and frustrated because you didn't want to be the victim of stuff that happened in the past, right? But unfortunately, that's the way of the world. And now people of color, LGBTQ people, women are going to be the victims of this anti-woke movement of the right, of these pushes, and people who have been put in positions of power all up and down our power structure, right? Not just from the Supreme Court, which is a conservative majority, who a few of them were put in by Trump in this first time as president, to Trump, to J.D. Vance, to Johnson, all the way down. It can be quite overwhelming and daunting. But don't forget, 75 million people voted for Kamala. And she had a 3-month run-in. That's it. Imagine if she'd had 4 years. Who knows what the numbers would have been? And they threw out a lot of votes, which people are now exposing and taking a look at. So they have to believe this. I just want people to stop being exhausted. Cut it out, get off the ground, wipe yourself off, and get back in the fight. It sucks what happened, but you got to fight harder. This is the game, man. And look, again, 75 billion people voted for Kamala. That tells me that this country wants to be more bipartisan than ruled by a dictator. But they're pushing through all this stuff now to try to take control of the country and put their stamp on everything, including entertainment. I swing back to entertainment because that's what this channel is about. I swing back to entertainment. The fact that he wants to be in charge of the Kennedy Center, the fact that he is the DEI programs are being smashed all across these entertainment companies. Offices are being shut down. Did you guys read about PBS? PBS of all places, PBS shut down their DEI offices and fired or let go of the people who were working in those offices. Now, again, some people, and Bill Maher brought up the idea of, I think Bill did brought up the idea of how many DEI officers there were on the Michigan campus. I think it was 200. Yeah, that stuff can be taken a look at and you go, okay, there's too many. Clearly we overcompensated. Let's cut. But cutting the entire department, period, so that people of color, women, and LGBTQ people don't have a place to go, don't have an officer they can speak to kind of talk to about their issues. Because I've seen this. White people will defend white people. It happens all the time. They'll give them the benefit of the doubt in ways that are just kind of astounding. And so you see that. And by the way, and I'm going to say something kind of controversial here, if the shoes were on the other foot, it might be the same way. So I understand the situation. I understand that it can go in any number of directions, right? If it was predominantly Latino country, how many avenues would we create for white people to succeed? I don't know. So these are the things you look at when you assess this stuff, is that you get it, but we just want it to be fair. And I don't think it is fair now. If you push back on all these DEI initiatives, that is going to absolutely implode and explode the possibility of more avenues being opened up for people of color and women and LGBTQ plus people and black people to get into these positions, to have a voice in the room. And my fear is, and especially in the entertainment world, where I think is super essential, because the Latino block is a massive block of moviegoers who go. 40% of tickets sold are Latino people buying tickets to the movies. 40% every month. Every month. Look it up. 40%. We are a massive part of return viewers to movies and going to the movies. And so that's important to factor in when you're looking at all of this stuff, that there is an audience that you do have to understand and factor in. And there are voices that we need to have in the room so we can keep creating amazing content and amazing entertainment for people to savor and enjoy. And it needs to happen. All right. Let's get into this stuff. Let's hit some Streamlabs. And on the other side, we'll get into the Super Bowl stuff. Scal Scalisi says, send support now. John will watch later. Thank you. Any chance of reviewing Sergio Leone's catalog on the Cinephiles? Keep up the great work. I think so, Scal. I think our first 6 months are kind of locked up, but going into the fall, I think I'd love to do a Sergio Leone movie. And we have talked about doing the season of Sergio Leone. So maybe next year we'll do Fistful of Dollars, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Or maybe we'll just do The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and then another Sergio Leone movie, maybe Once Upon a Time in the West, and have a conversation about that. So we'll see as it all plays out. And for those who don't know, the Cinephiles Now is a podcast that I co-host with my friend who's a film director, producer, and writer in Los Angeles. We have been doing the show for 9 years. We average about 150 to 200,000 downloads a month. It's one of my more successful projects that I've been a part of. I'm very proud of it. We're about to do next week, the first episode. We're going to dive into Mad Max Fury Road. So the first part of that, it's probably going to be about 3 episodes, our breakdown. We go scene by scene through every movie. Our guest for that breakdown, actually it's coming up this week, I guess. Our guest for that breakdown is a WTF with Mark Maron producer, Brendan McDonald, who hosts his own podcast affiliated with WTF there as well. He is such a great guy. And he's done one show earlier last year. He's coming back to do Mad Max Fury Road with us. And we've already recorded 2 parts. It's been fantastic to break that movie down. But we cover classic films. There's a 10-year window, so nothing before 2015 and that's how we do things. And then when it goes to 2026, nothing before 2016. That's kind of how we do it. And we've covered a lot of great films, had a lot of great guests. So if you haven't tried it, Cinephiles, I would recommend it. And we are doing something new this month to celebrate the Oscars season. We're having our own Oscars award show based on the Oscar nominations. We're having all our Cinephile fans vote. And so if you haven't signed up for the Cinephiles Patreon, you can do, and it can be, you can be a free member and still vote with all the categories and vote on everything there. So you can be a free or paying member and you get to vote, and your vote will count in the end when we do the award show live on March 1st, which is the day before the Oscars. We'll do it live on our YouTube channel. So go and sign up there now. And we're breaking down the top 10. We're breaking down the 10 Best Picture nominees right now as a series on the Cinephiles, in addition to our regular episodes. We're talking about 20 to 30 minutes on each film. We just dropped our Conclave episode, and then we'll drop our Complete Unknown episode on Thursday. So there's stuff going on there. C Black says, thoughts on Doomsday filming in a few weeks? Yeah, I guess it's happening. I had heard from a couple of my sources that they were pushing both of these Avengers movies back from their original release dates. Not huge, but just a little bit of pushback to give them a little bit of space and time. So the fact that they are already filming in a few weeks is incredibly surprising. That's what the rumor is. That Marvel hasn't officially said they're filming, I think, in a couple of weeks. So we'll see. Sean K says, I'm worried that the DEI backlash will set storytelling back. Yeah, movies like Everything Everywhere All at Once will not get made. Well, I think the thing that you have that would be interesting, though, Sean, and listen, this is a very fair concern, is that if we start to see predominantly white movies and they're not good, then the studio, which is a business, I think will be like, okay, we need to open the door to more entertainment for people. Like, we need, more of this on the slate, because we need to, clearly there's audiences we are not catering to that we need to cater to. So I'm hoping that studios realize that they're saying all this stuff just to appease Trump and, make him, get him to be quiet, leave them alone. But behind the scenes, they're still going to make content that appeals to a diverse cross-section of people here in the country, and to have Black leads and Latino leads and female leads and all of that, and not care what the anti-woke people are saying, because they're just saying that to make money off people, and actually kind of look at what's great content, It's just because it's a person of color or a woman or LGBTQ plus leading doesn't mean it's a terrible show or film, because I've seen plenty of terrible white straight led stuff. So it's ridiculous. Michael McKenzie says, hey, John, PlayStation State of Play is tomorrow. Any announcements that you were hoping for? I really want to see Insomniac's Wolverine and Intergalactic. I got to be honest with you, catching me a little bit like I don't know too much about this. I have a PS5. I'm playing it currently. Let's see the State of Play, what to expect. Insomniac's Wolverine, Naughty Dog's Intergalactic is what you're mentioning. Phantom Blade Zero is a possibility. Bungie's Marathon, Haven's Fair Games. Rumors are continuing to swirl that this will be the day that Halo finally makes its way over to PlayStation consoles. So that's a possibility as well. Some people talk about Bloodborne Remake, Days Gone 2, PS3 emulation, Resident Evil 9, Final Fantasy. Resident Evil 9, I think I'd be incredibly interested to see what we get from that. So yeah, I'll keep tabs on it and see what we're going to get on that. Looking forward to it, man. Shout out. Thank you, Michael, for referencing that. Darren Wright, what's up, dude? 12-hour shift. Go to bed. Rocha is live. Show love. Thank you, Darren. I love you, brother. I hope you're doing well there in England, my friend. And thank you for the kind donation, brother. Erix says, if the conservative right has power, why are they still unhappy? What do you think of the Super Bowl halftime show's messaging? Yeah, we'll get into Super Bowl messaging in just a little bit. I loved it, and we'll talk about it I've got 55 minutes, so I don't have a lot of time, but we will talk about if the conservative right has. I don't know. I think they're just on it. Look, it's not everyone, right? But certainly the loud voices that you see on social media, they're so unhappy. They got everything they wanted, and they're still unhappy. You know why? Because they're never going to be happy. This movement is not born from a place of wanting to create a happy existence. It's a place born of bitching and moaning and crying and whining and why not me and all of that. And that is never going to lead to happiness. Never, because you're in a victim mentality consistently 24/7. And then eventually you turn on each other, right? We saw how some of them have turned on Musk and got mad at him because he wouldn't adhere to what they felt was the right thing to do. So it's a movement born of anger and rage and hate. And it is not a movement born, no matter what they say, and they can say it a million times to the balloon, wear all the hats they want or shirts they want. It's a movement born from anger and hatred. It's not a movement born from wanting to bring people together and wanting to help people, unless they're white people. And so it's just like, to me, this is where it gets supremely frustrating to take a look at this stuff, So yeah, I guess they're still unhappy because they're always going to be unhappy. Sadly, no matter what you do, it's never going to be enough. Larry Lease, what's up, Larry Lease? Long time no see. Oh my God, been too long. Hope all is well. Yeah, same to you, Larry. Thanks so much for popping in, man. Appreciate it. I will be doing more of these, Larry. I will have consistent times. Derek Johnson kind of schooled me on that on Monday when he said to me, man, I'll stop in if you start to be more consistent with these live shows. And you're right. Look, I just announced this, 30 to 45 minutes before I did it, because I saw this article and I'm like, I got to go live and talk about it. So yeah, it's essentially me having to just commit to this and focus on it, make it like a drive time thing, maybe 4 to 7 or 4 to 6 or maybe 5 to 7, something like that every Monday through Friday. Of course, the Thursday will be the hot mic show. So maybe we'll go that route. We'll see. Drea says, just to thank you for the great nerd content with a side of political snark. Who, me? Come on. Enjoy Captain America. I'm taking mom on Friday for Valentine's Day and looking forward to it. That's awesome. Nice stuff, Drea. I hope your mom enjoys. I hope you both enjoy it. I hope I enjoy it tonight. We will see. As I said, I am going to see it. I'm leaving right after 6 to head over to the theater, hopefully get a good seat. And I hope I enjoy it. I'm not saying I'm going with my mind made up. I have trepidation, but I have hope at the same time. So we'll see where it lands for me when the show is over. RX says, thank you again for being a strong voice during this time. Speaking for myself, it means a lot. Thank you, Eric's. I appreciate that. It's not easy. A lot of people come after me on Twitter. A lot of people come after me on Instagram, on social media, on the YouTube shows when I host with Christian. A lot of people get very upset that I'm just not shutting up and going along with what everyone else wants. And it's just not how I'm built, And yeah, it's cost me subscribers. It's cost me followers. It is what it is. I would love to have, sometimes I wish I was born with that. Oh, that's not my business to talk about. And I'll just talk about happy things and big smiley face all the time. And that's just not how I'm built. And the truth is, no matter how much people have tried to push back on the politics, it is now seeping into everything. He is putting his dirty, orange, grubby hands into everything now. Nothing is safe. Nothing is safe. Eventually he's going to come for YouTube and they're going to start taking out all the content that is saying anything negative about him. He is already pushing for CBS to fold up. It's anybody who contradicts him, he wants out. And then you saw him acting like a little baby the other day. I'm the president of the United States. You don't talk to me like that. I'm the president of the United States. Bitch, you talked so much shit about Joe Biden. You talked the most horrible shit about Joe Biden, but people need to respect you now. Fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Retro Rebels says, caught my man Rocha live. What's up, Retro? Good to see you. Just want to show my support, hermano. Same to you. Recently found out you served 8 years. Yes, from one vet to another. Salute to you, brother. Salute to you, man. Always the thumb inside, right? That's right. That's how you do things. Thank you, Retro, and thank you for your service, bro. I appreciate you being a vet for our country and serving our country. I was in the Army for 8 years. I was a reservist for a majority of it, so I don't pretend I'm not stolen valor here. I didn't go to any theater of war. I served during a theater of war, but I did not go to a theater of war. I was very proud to serve my country, and I met some amazing people from all walks of life, by the way, that I became friends with during my time there in the service, and I'll never regret that. So, and it changed my life, honestly, because I joined at a time when I wasn't sure what I was going to do with my life, and it really gave me a lot of discipline at an early age that I really needed. Tim Sims says, at this point, how important are artistic indie creatives now in this time with a big name studio like Disney bending the knee to this ridiculous idea of DEI is evil? Hope you're doing well so far. Thank you, man. I appreciate that, Tim. And you're right. I think artistic indie creatives are very important right now. And thank God there are so many avenues outside of the big studios for them to put their stuff up, like YouTube, like TikTok, like all these other social media places. They can place their movies, snippets of their movies to get people to buy and purchase them. There are multiple streaming services who are constantly snatching up content and wanting content to put on there services. So there are places for indie creatives to go. I think what we need to do is those of us who are on this side of the camera, on this side of the fence, we need to be the ones uplifting and talking about and promoting these indie creative films. And so I think I need to do a better job in 2025 of hunting these ones down and seeing where they're at and promoting them and risking, low view count on videos because I want to talk about these movies. Or maybe I weave that into a live video like this with a big topic so that people are paying attention, or I have a lot of viewership for this, and people will go and try out these movies. That would be fun to see. Thank you, Tim. And thank you, NA, for the super sticker. Appreciate that very, very much. And Sonic 2000, another super sticker. Thank you so much for that as well. Well, I haven't even, let me see if I've got any Streamlabs that have come through. I did post it right on there in the chat and in the description of the video. So it is there for people who want to send support in. Let's see here if we've got anything from in recent events here. Yes, Samo. Thank you, Samo. I think the Democrats are a terrible opposition to Trump. Schumer and Jeffries need to be replaced with someone more bolder and aggressive to stop Trump thoughts and keep up the great work. Well, I think Hakeem is great. I think he's fantastic. I think you got AOC there fighting the fight as well, trying to get people motivated. Jasmine Crockett is doing what she can do there to fight as hard as she can. Ariana Presley the other day stepping up and shouting out how they're going to fight. Goldman, who showed up last night on Chris Hayes' program, they are there launching the fight. We need to get some W's, though, and that's where I think this is where it needs to be. People need to get up off their ass and fight and support their representatives, their Democratic representatives, so we can push back on this. Look, I'm not saying we need to stop his entire agenda and whatever and all of that. I'm saying we need to make him understand this is a country that does better when it's a bipartisan country. It does not do better when it's ruled by one side or the other. It does better when there's a good mixture of both. And that's what we need to find our way to, because I do think the left goes too far sometimes, and I think the right goes too far sometimes. And so it's like we got to find that middle. I think there are a lot of level-headed people on the right who are just like going with this because they've been told over and over again how DEI is terrible and how all this stuff is terrible and how they're getting run over and their feelings don't matter. And so naturally they want to fight against that kind of stuff. But I think the truth is there are a lot of Democrats who want to hear what Republicans have to say and find a happy medium. And I think we got to find our way back to that middle. Christian and I said this on the show a few weeks ago, like, where is the middle? We need to fight for the middle. The problem is the middle doesn't host shows. The middle doesn't, it's not a loud presence, but it is there. And I think more of the middle needs to be elevated and uplifted, because I can't believe that there are, like everyone on the right is supporting what Trump is doing. That can't be true, because a lot of people you're seeing now, there's a dump MAGA movement. There's a regret MAGA movement going on online where people are posting videos talking about how they voted for him, and they're seeing that his policies are destroying their livelihoods and their lives and their businesses. And when they're asked about it, when when Trump and the other people in his administration are asked about it, there's an indifference. There's oh yes, well, people are going to have to suffer a little bit. And it's like, wow, how funny that you didn't say it all in the campaign trail, but now you're saying it once you got in there. And so we're seeing it. We're seeing prices skyrocket. So it's just a shame, but we've got to fight back and create some W's. For sure. All right, let's move on and talk about the Super Bowl. Hey now. A lot of stuff happened at the Super Bowl. I got about 45 minutes left here. A lot of ads, a lot of trailers. Of course, the Thunderbolts trailer was pretty impressive, wouldn't you say? I mean, I really had a good time with that one. My reaction is up on the channel right now. Very surprised at how good that trailer came out. It's probably the best Marvel trailer in quite some time. Obviously, it spoiled a couple of things. For those of you who don't know, it seems like the villain is a certain somebody. And for those of you who read about that villain in the Marvel comics, you know that villain has villain has a hero and villain side to it, and is controlled by something. And it seems like that the person may start out to be a hero, but then becomes a villain through the course of the movie. And do they find their way back? We will see. So it's going to be an interesting film in that way. Taskmaster is barely in the trailer, so it seems pretty clear that either A, they get killed off pretty early, which I would be surprised that Olga Korolenko would come back to play a role that gets knocked off pretty early, A lot of people are speculating that it could be Black Widow. So I don't know if she's back because she's an EP on the film. So I don't know. A lot of questions on that. But the energy of that trailer was great. The underdog energy of wanting to prove that you can do it, wanting to not be overlooked anymore, wanting to fight for your place at the table, shall we say. I thought that was so great to see. And I really loved seeing that from the trailer. I thought the humor was the right mix of humor and stakes. And I thought overall, this is like the best of Marvel. When Marvel gets it right, this is why people love Marvel. And I thought that energy came through in the trailer really, really well. I don't think it's a film that's going to go to a lot of places. We do see some really interesting visuals in the trailer with her jumping off the building there, Yelena, them fighting out in the desert, which is very reminiscent to what we see in What If Season 3 with Bucky and the Red Guardian. And then the city, all the stuff that happens in the city. And I'm really curious to see what Valentina's role is in all of this, because Valentina, who looks a lot, I mean, look at that shot of her. I don't know if I have a shot of her from the trailer, but in that shot, she looks a lot like Tulsi Gabbard. And I wonder if that's on purpose, you know? And so again, you talk about, it's kind of, it's a little unsettling how close to, okay, I'm going to bring this up. What do you guys think here? You might think I'm off base here, but I don't think so. Look, there's Julia on Twitter. There you see her, right? That's Julia there. And that's Tulsi Gabbard. Like, tell me that's not on purpose. That is absolutely on purpose. And you know, Julia is a big liberal. And so the idea of making fun of her, of essentially Valentina being a plant, which a lot of people feel that Tulsi is, I don't think that's an accident. I think that's absolutely. Oh wait, it didn't go to it. Okay, so let me see if I can bring this up. Wait, I'm gonna stop sharing there. Sorry guys, I thought you guys could see what I was seeing, so maybe you can't. There we go. That's her there, which you guys can see, right? That's Julia in the film, and that's Tulsi. And so it's uncanny. You're not making a stretch connecting these two, and then a commentary is possibly being made, because a lot of people know from the comics what Valentina actually does and what she actually represents in the film. So yeah, I don't think that's too much of a stretch at all. So crazy to see that. So if you missed that, it's an interesting connection. The other trailers, I thought the Mission Impossible 8 trailer was fun. A couple of new stunts, but not much of the story, not much of anything else. I'm really surprised that a full trailer hasn't been released for that one. But it was fun to see Tom Cruise hanging off those biplanes and doing the things that he was doing. That was cool. The F1 trailer, the 30-second trailer, I thought was a lot of fun, just being inside the car. So this is going to be an interesting movie. I hope you guys got a chance to see that trailer. It is very immersive. And I was surprised at how much that trailer worked and how much of that trailer got me, and then the other trailer I thought was cool. Oh, the Jurassic World Rebirth trailer the second one was fine. The Lilo and Stitch thing, I think a lot of people liked that trailer more than I did. Well, it wasn't even a trailer, just him diving around and jumping around on that field. That was fine. And was there another trailer that I'm missing here? I don't know if there's another trailer that I'm missing, but I think those were all the Super Bowl trailers that we got to see. Yes, right? Isn't that right? Okay, every Super Bowl trailer, yeah, Lilo Stitch, the Smurfs that was fine. The How to Train Your Dragon, I thought that was a cool 30-second spot. Not a lot in it. It was fun to see it in live action and the way it worked. Yeah, the F1, Thunderbolts, Mission Impossible. Oh, and the Megan trailer. Yeah, the Megan trailer was fun, but we'd kind of already seen that 45 seconds. I think a day or two before the Super Bowl. So I thought it was a fun trailer as well in what it showed us. But yeah, that's what I would say with the trailers. Let's see. And now let's move on to the commercials. All right. I think Yahoo did a great job breaking down the commercials that people enjoyed. I got to say, my number one commercial was the seal with Mountain Dew. That was a crazy ass commercial, and Becky G falling there into the motorboat, and then them running into Seal, who actually sings a song about Mountain Dew. I thought that was really funny and completely unexpected, and I appreciated the creative ingenuity of that one as well. And let's see here. What else have we got? Okay. So USA did all 57. There was 57 of them. Wow. Yeah, the Budweiser one, that was fine. The Ultra Hustle, yeah, the Michelob Ultra with Catherine O'Hara and Willem Dafoe. I thought that was great. Yeah, I'm gonna bring that up so we can look at these trailers or these ads as we go along here. The Dave and Dave, I know a lot of people like that. Maybe I wasn't in the right frame of mind for this one. I didn't find it quite as interesting as other people did. I thought it was fine and there were some funny moments, but I was hoping to get a little bit more from that one than we did. For me, I was a little disappointed by that one. I wasn't. Oh, what the hell? I wasn't the biggest fan of that one. The Somebody one I thought was really cool. That was a good one. The about getting the women in the flag leagues. Yeah, NFL Flag 50. Here's what occurred to me after watching that trailer, and I stand by this, and I know that can be controversial, I guess. A little bit for people in that I think this is the NFL kicking the tires on a future women's football league. This is coming. Whether it'll be flag or tackle, I don't know. But just like we've seen with the WNBA, just like we've seen with women's soccer, there is no effing way, and the NFL doesn't want their piece of the pie on the women's side of things in creating their football league. And look, women will get injured, women will tear ACLs, women will break bones, women will whatever, but just like guys do. So I think the NFL is slowly moving towards the possibility of a women's football league that they sponsor. I think it's a very, very real possibility. I know we've seen the lingerie league and all of that, but I'm talking about a real league because ladies are tough nowadays. Ladies are working out. Women are getting themselves in shape. Women are fighting. You see the rugby team, the women's rugby team from this previous Olympics with Ilona Maher getting all the way to the final of the Dancing with the Stars season that she was in recently. You see this. Women are ready to play. They're ready to be part of this. And I thought that commercial was incredible, seeing the acrobatics of that young woman as she was doing things that she was doing. Yeah, the big man on the cul-de-sac was fine. I don't know. I feel like we're maybe the 15 minutes are done on that comedian. Post Malone, great to see him. I mean, look at how skinny he is now. The Peyton Manning stuff was funny in that commercial as well. Yeah, the Uber Eats was interesting with McConaughey as friggin' Ditka. That was cool. When Harry Met Sally Hellman's thing, I liked it, and it made me want to see a sequel to When Harry Met Sally. I think we're in a place now where it would be kind of fun to see what their lives are like now, and they probably have kids and they probably have grandkids, and what is their world now as Harry and Sally? Or it could be a really controversial approach, which is they never had kids. They couldn't have kids or didn't want kids. So how have their lives gone since we saw them when we were Harry Met Sally? Obviously, at the end, they've been married. We find out for quite some time, and they do the beautiful little ending there on the couch. But is there a possibility to explore that? What happened after the time on the couch? What happened as they got older? Did they separate for a while? Did they see other people? Did they come back together? Are we going to catch them in a time when they're ending their marriage? And as I said, go off and maybe explore what it's like dating and then find their way back to each other with a recommitment to their marriage and their relationship and their love for each other. I was reading an article today about Terry Crews talking about how him and his wife, after 20 years of their marriage, were ready to call it quits. And they had just kind of gotten to the point where they were done with it. But that was the time where they felt the need to recommit to their marriage. And it was, Terry wanted to quit the marriage, but she wouldn't let him. And then as they were working through it, she wanted to quit the marriage and he wouldn't let her. And they eventually found their way back to each other and back to an understanding and a desire to work at the marriage. And they've been together still ever since. And so it's a really interesting story. So wouldn't it be interesting to see a When Harry Met Sally film where they, they broke up for a bit, but we want them to get back together, and we go through these hilarious relationships that they're in, just like we saw in the first movie when they're dating all these other people before they finally end up with each other and rediscovering a friendship, rediscovering their love for each other at an older age. Kind of like Pina Colada, that song. Oh, it's you. When he walks to the bar and sees that the woman he thought he was going to cheat on his wife with is actually his wife, and the man that his wife was going to cheat on him with, and the man that his wife was going to cheat on him with is him. So it could be possible. Pfizer, we're going to knock you out, was fine. The Doritos abduction was a little weird. I'm not sure if I like the Doritos abduction. I thought this was awesome. When we're hearing all this stuff about, hey guys, we need to come together. I know we insulted you for 8 years and we said, let's go Brandon as a fuck you to Joe Biden, but we need to come together now. You need to let go of all these terrible things I said about you, and let's hold hands with MAGA. No. But I thought this was really great. I thought this Jeep commercial, Harrison Ford, just the way he laid it out, I thought the writing on this commercial was great. I thought him talking about how, we don't always have to agree with each other to say hi to each other. We don't always have to ride down the same path. But we have to find our way back to each other because our strength is our unity. And I tell you, if anything is going to destroy the MAGA hold and this madness that's going on now with Musk, it is a majority of people going, you know what? Enough is enough. We need to come back together as a country. We need to forgive each other, lay down our arms, verbal arms, lay down all these things, and get rid of these people who want to divide us on the left and the right, and come back together in unity and be stronger for it. And I thought this commercial really nailed that sentiment and that mentality, that vibe. And I thought him whispering that his last name was Ford was really funny. The Instacart thing was funny. I thought, seeing the Jolly Green Giant and the Energizer Bunny and the Kool-Aid dude and all of that, and the hot dogs was cool. Yeah, the Google Dream Job was, I like that one. Dove, I don't remember that one. Oh, Your Attention, Please. I thought that, I can't speak. I'm a dude, but it seemed like this was a good one for women to pay attention to. Whew, but this one, man, this one was dumb as hell, man. The Tom Hardy Snoop Dogg commercial. Talk about not being the right messengers for a commercial like this. Whereas Harrison Ford, I thought, was the right messenger for that commercial because, he made his bones being famous in nerd properties, but he's also always conveyed this kind of rugged individualist that appeals to the right. And so him playing both sides, I thought was great. But seeing this was terrible. Snoop Dogg had just played Trump's inauguration, and Trump is super invested in division. It's how he rules, division and chaos, while lying that he wants to bring people together. Snoop saying we need to stop the hate with Tom Brady, one of the most hated people on the planet because of things that he's done in his career, and him also having had a MAGA hat in his locker and legendarily was a Trump supporter. So to me, to have two Trump supporters tell us and I would argue if you play it as inauguration, you are indirectly supporting him, tell us that we need to stand up to all the hate. Well, tell you what, you guys stop hating first, and maybe we'll figure out how to stand up to all the hate, Slow Monday was cool. I thought that was very reminiscent of what we'd seen years ago with the monkeys and that dude who was, working at a place that had all monkeys and how frustrated he was. This was a fun one. Goldilocks and Three Trucks. I don't know. I didn't like this one too much. A little too much Glenn Powell. Although the screaming at the end was funny, I thought how we got here was just a little weird, for sure. The WeatherTech stuff was funny. I thought the old ladies were pretty cool, for sure. Call of the Mustaches. That was really weird, wasn't it? I don't know. Sometimes these big brands see how other brands do really unusual commercials and think, oh, we'll do that. And you saw that here in Call of the Mustaches, right? You saw the mustache coming off of Ron Swanson, or coming off of I can't remember the name now, but coming off of Ron Swanson in essence, and then coming off of James Harden and coming off of all these people and flying Andy Reid and flying out there to help him. But then in the end, they didn't deliver the Pringles. So what was the point of it? I guess to get the button on the scene where Nick Offerman, that's it. Nick Offerman is wearing James Harden's mustache and says he likes it, even though James says he thinks it's his. So yeah, I don't know. Little Caesars Web was kind of boring. Rocket, kind of boring. Yeah, the Mountain Dew one. I can't believe it's 24th. I thought this was the most interesting and inventive and insane one. I would have put that up near the top, along with the Harrison Ford one. The booking.com was fine. Oh, the key gets us. I can't even with that. This was deceptively very funny. The Don't Eat Lava commercial, I thought, was hilarious. I thought the dude who was the main lead in that commercial was hilarious. Them trying to stop everybody from trying to eat lava, that was actually supremely funny. Him stopping the old lady who was trying to run in there like a kamikaze mission with her wheels catching on fire as he's hanging on. That was really funny. So I thought that was genius, absolute genius. I don't know why it's 27th. Wait, have we even gotten to
ever since Reese's came out?
I don't want to play. Have we even gotten to the Ritz salty? That was fine. That was fine. It's sad to see Aubrey Plaza in a commercial because, of course, her husband took his own life recently. So, and of course, this was shot a while ago. It wasn't like she shot it right after or anything. Some people were coming afterwards. You have no knowledge of how this all works. This was lame. I thought this was super lame. The Not So Fast, Not So Furious. The Beluga one was funny, except that you know that it's Kieran Culkin, and just about everything he did in that commercial, he kind of does in A Real Pain. So you're like, wait, why is he the front runner again for best supporting actor when he is doing the exact same thing in all these roles? I don't understand. Nerds was fine. This Disney What If I thought was lame, super lame. I'm not a Josh Gad person. I'm just not. I thought his voiceover was just not good for this. Someone's got to explain that to me, the Josh Gad thing. I'll never get it. Oh, the Brady reboost was terrible. This was super terrible. All right, so let's wrap up commercials with this one. I loved this commercial last year. Matt Damon, Tom Brady, and even the Jennifer Lopez one. And you all know I'm not the biggest fan of J-Lo, but J-Lo coming in at the end was hilarious with her comedic timing. Is this what you've been doing the whole time? So, and then putting her order in, which I thought was great. So I was expecting like an awesome commercial and bringing in Casey. And I know some people, certainly Casey's had some accusations in the past or whatever, but bringing in Casey to have that chemistry between the Afflecks again, I thought was great. And then bringing in Jeremy Strong to poke fun at his method acting, sitting there in a vat of coffee grinds. I thought this was going to be excellent. But then the commercial played. And by the way, I watched the 6.5 minute extended commercial that is on YouTube of this one. And I got to say, man, I was supremely disappointed. I thought Affleck was great. Affleck was great. I wish I knew this Affleck in real life. I wish I could go get a beer with this dude and hang out, watch a movie, have conversations about like Ben Affleck in this commercial. That Ben Affleck, that's the guy I would love to know. You know, just like when he's going back and forth with Casey about the method. There's a book and the whole thing of how do you think I got where I never studied? How do you think I got where I got? And Casey's like, exactly. So these things that are funny, he's willing to take the piss out of himself, which I think is the mark of a really cool artist. And Ben does that. The problem with the commercial was they overplayed the Jeremy Strong thing way too much. Him coming in to read an edict from a scroll, that was not good. The Jay and Bob should have been in it for Jay and Silent Bob should have been in it for much longer. The different guys coming in to play the different coffee brands weren't that interesting. No offense. Because it's the black guy leading the avant-garde coffee, but it's the idiot white guy who made the stash or batch. Look, buddy, you're the lead. You make the batch. It should have been making fun of him. I didn't like that he was making fun of one of his employees. The Starbucks one, those guys were kind of boring. The Starbucks bros, whatever it was. The fast food guys were funny. If you guys haven't seen the extended one, the fast food guys, those guys were funny as hell going back and forth with Ben. But that leading to Jeremy Strong reading a scroll, Paul Revere, it was not a payoff that was as good as last year in any way, shape, or form. So I thought it was a supremely disappointing commercial in the end, and I thought it was going to be great. I just, those 30 seconds they released ahead of time with him and Casey outside Jeremy Strong's dressing room, I thought was going to be great. And in the end, it wasn't. So, oh yeah, the alien one, I guess it was fine. Is there anything else? I really don't think there was much anything else. Still not saying we're the best. Holmes, yeah, Angel. Oh no, this was funny. Just to get Tim back. Oh God, these two guys who were on the Detroiters, right? Sam Richardson, right? Sam Richardson and Tim. Just to get them back together. This was hilarious. This was absolutely hilarious. And by the way, if you guys haven't seen the new trailer for Friendship today that dropped with him and Paul Rudd, I highly recommend you all watch that. I almost did a reaction, but no one was watching it, so I didn't bother with it. This was horrible. This Ray-Bans one was stupid. And then having what's-her-face come in at the end, I just thought this was a terrible, Kris Jenner. I thought it was a terrible commercial. Yeah, the Taco Bell one was no good. Yeah, the Poppy Soda thoughts. Yeah, Turbo. The GoDaddy, that was no good either. Where's the terrible? The worst one was the Squarespace. That, I don't know why you do a Banshees of Inisherin commercial, in essence, with Barry Keoghan, and he's throwing computers at a small town in Ireland somewhere. I just thought that was lame as hell. So, I mean, that's my overall thoughts on the commercials, so to speak. So let's get into, real as we wrap up here, the last 15, 20 minutes, let's talk about that halftime show. What a halftime show, man. That was incredible from Kendrick Lamar. I saw some people coming for that show saying like, oh, it's not that great. Wasn't that good? Blah, blah, blah. I thought it was excellent. Excellent. Yeah. And I saw Fox News. I saw Jesse Waters go, nobody knew anything. Jesse, shut the fuck up. Like, really, what the fuck do you know? I thought that halftime show was a work of art. It was a work of art. And yes, it wasn't for everybody. Just as an avant-garde work of art wouldn't be. He had no backup band. My man was doing his thing. It was not pre-taped. Yeah, there were sections where there was lyrics popped in, but they weren't the lyrics he was rapping. They were more chorus stuff. But like him staying on point, doing the breath, the opening shot on top of that car, and then him going through his songs and essentially showing you that he is advocating for Black contribution to this country, the overlooked contributions of Black people to this country, I thought was incredible. Having the dancers in red, white, and blue become the flag as he stood amongst them, in essence saying like Black people built this country, and then walking through them, dividing the country, because Black people always seem to divide the country, not from what they're doing, but people putting their judgments on Black people and their anger. And of course, the Civil War was fought in part over slavery. So that's what split the country. So Black people have always had a very huge effect on our nation since they were brought over against their will and turned into slaves for the slavery trade. By the way, which the North and South were beneficiaries of and participated in. Do your research. And then, the Uncle Sam thing with Sam Jackson, I thought was incredible. What a great way to show how America is saying to Kendrick Lamar, tone it down, keep it chill, don't blow your opportunity, give us slower stuff. And essentially that section where Uncle Sam Jackson is saying like, that's more like it. That's what we want to see. That's the good thing you need to do. That's what the Fox News people wanted. Give me that safe shit. Give me that safe stuff that makes me feel good. Don't give me that stuff that makes me think. Don't give me that stuff that actually calls out the country for the history of terrible treatment it has delivered towards the Black community. I don't want to think about that while I'm watching Black men destroy each other on a football field. A majority of Black men destroy each other on the football field. No, I don't want to think about that. Let me enjoy the safe stuff. Let me have my safe stuff back. That's essentially what a lot of people were advocating for. And you saw a lot of racist takes afterwards, because of course they were going to be. But his delivery, Kendrick's delivery, was something that is out of this world. I don't know many rappers that would have been able to pull off what he pulled off so effectively, weaving into the songs. And look, we saw Dre and we saw Snoop and 50 Cent and Eminem and all those people show up for that halftime show. Mary J. Blige a couple of years ago. And yes, that was staged really well. This was an art piece, what Kendrick was delivering, right? This is an independent film. And one of the best independent films you're ever going to see. What Dre delivered was fucking Fast and Furious, right? What Kendrick was delivering to you was an independent film of utter genius. And I thought he knocked it out of the park with his commentary, and still amongst the commentary, still found time to take his shots at Drake. Goodness gracious. Yes, he didn't say the word, pedophile, but he did go after him and looked right at the camera with that. Everyone's having that photo. And then brought on Serena, who had been a part of his original rap, to do the Crip Walk dance there, which she had gotten in trouble for at Wimbledon years ago. And essentially taking a shot at Drake, because her and Drake had gone out, and the rumor is that he didn't take the breakup well and went after her. That's the rumor. I don't know. I don't have any, on the ground evidence of that, but that's the rumor. And so essentially she was crip walking on his grave, man. She was dancing on his grave. And then SZA, who of course is part of those songs, with the Black Panther song as well. There were rumors that he and her dated. So this was a double shot. And then he said the stuff about Drake, and then everybody hit the A minor. So there was so much about this halftime show. So let me just check. There was so much about this halftime show that I was supremely impressed by. As someone who has seen his fair share of terrible one-man shows or terrible art pieces or art installations, I thought what he did deserves awards, deserves whatever you give for halftime shows, because that was just stellar. It really was. And I know some people are upset, like, oh, Super Bowl wasn't the right time to do it. I don't know. A mass audience like this, which apparently they broke records for viewership, I think is the perfect opportunity. And him saying right at the beginning, the revolution will be televised, turning around that phrase from the old days there, that the revolution will not be televised, which the first time I ever heard that was at a Public Enemy record. And then going back and finding out the source of that was very illuminating. So to see him make a twist on it and say the revolution will be televised, because we're all on our phones now. We're all on our iPads, phones, laptops, desktops, computers. We're always turned on. So the revolution will be televised. And he said the right time and the wrong man, essentially implying that Trump is the wrong man. So I love that all the MAGAs went crazy about it, and because that's what his point was. He wanted to make the shot. And these are the moments of protest that we need to celebrate and uplift and promote, because those moments of protest matter, and especially to a worldwide audience like this, And I thought his rap, man, the way he weaved in between all those songs, especially when he hit Not Like Us, man, that intro, goodness gracious, that was incredible. And then going into changing the lyrics so that they were a little more palatable for that audience, I thought was utter genius as well. And then some of those shots, the shots of all those people on the ground with just the people in white circling, that's essentially showing you how Black people have died for this country to exist. It also, some people speculated that they fell in a swastika formation or swastika body position in order to convey the hatred of that. The stage was in an X, perhaps evoking Malcolm X. And even in that section with Uncle Sam, when Kendrick is there with his boys talking all this stuff, and rapping, him saying, "Oh, you're trying to borrow culture cred, or you're trying to get culture cred by hanging out with your boys. Deduct one life." Essentially saying, if you hang out on the stoop with your guys, the cops are going to show up and kill one of y'all. And it's so you just see this. I thought it was genius. And and for a game that was supremely boring because the Eagles had pretty much put it to bed by halftime, seeing something like this come through. I've watched it 5 times now, and I probably won't stop watching it for a long time because there's so much art being done here in less than 15 minutes. And there's so much protest, there's so much education, there's so much provocation, purposeful provocation in the halftime show that I thought was incredible. Yeah, Clarissa saying so many people kept trying to call him talentless. I was shutting people. Tell those people to get up on that stage and try doing a fucking 1/10 of what he did on that stage. They would shit their pants and fall down and look like morons. The talent level of Kendrick Lamar is astounding. If you don't get it, you don't get it. And we're at a time now where you see Kanye flying off the cliff, not falling off the cliff, flying off the cliff like Thelma and Louise with that swastika shirt. And I saw people defending, "Oh, he's making a joke. It's a sarcasm, humor." It's nonsense. His own wife has expressed a concern about his mental health. We've seen before Kanye go off the cliff. And so that man, to me, was a genius when he burst onto the rap scene. I see shades of that in Kendrick. I see a lot of that in Kendrick, actually. And so I hope he doesn't, fly off the cliff like Kanye has. But I think he's much more solid. I think Kanye always had something loose. And that's also what allowed him to create such incredible music and rap and lyrics, because he came to it from such an acute angle that he was able to deliver stuff that was genius. I know Kendrick won a Pulitzer Prize, but I feel like some of the early lyrics of Kanye's should have been up for a Pulitzer Prize as well. Like, they're just genius lyrics in the first 2 to 3 albums of Kanye's work. It's when he got with the Kardashians, and when he got with that's when he just kind of, and his mother dying, that's when he kind of flew off the handle. Oh, did we lose my boy? Yeah, this one is, it's funny. I got this Funko of Sam, but it's not always, it's not the most solid Funko. It doesn't stand on its own. So I have to kind of, It's a shame. I was hoping it would be a little more solid. I hope that's not an indication of the film, because I'm about to go watch it. It may be that it's just a little off the bookcase, so maybe that's the issue. I don't know. There we go. We'll just put it there. Hopefully it's fine there. But yeah, so I was incredible. It was incredible. And at a time when we're losing Kanye, to get Kendrick back in the pop culture mainstream, I thought was great coming out of that Super Bowl. And I see some of you all saying, well, Super Bowl is supposed to be about having a good time, the halftime show. I get that. But, every once in a while, a little interestingly intelligent, artistic a show that makes us think, especially at a time now when we need to be thinking so much more than we are, I think was incredible and essential. And the timing of it was great. So I have nothing negative to say. And look, I'm not going to get into, you can go and find the breakdowns of his halftime show on numerous websites. They'll break everything down for you, and the lyrics he was using. I am no way am I trying to be one of those people who's going to do that, because that is not my place to do that. I can only present to you the stuff that I remember catching or reading about since Sunday, in breaking down his show, because it was and it's a show that holds up to multiple rewatches, by the way. It just like any great movie or TV show, you can watch it over and over again and get different things and extrapolate different things from the viewing of it. And I think that's a positive in its direction. So There we go. Yeah, Serena's crip walk had me on the floor. Yeah, and there's a behind the scenes. You take a look at the behind the scenes of her walking up there, and we should have known that she was going to do something because her social media leading up to that moment was like full of little teases that I thought were great. So we'll see. We'll see. All right. So let's hit some of these Streamlabs supers to wrap up here. Sean K, what's up? Sean says, as an immigrant, thank you for fighting the good fight and not caving to the mob. It gives me hope and faith. Oh, yeah. I'll never cave to the mob. You know me, Sean. I don't cave to the mob. I don't need to. I've got, multiple revenue streams. I'm very fortunate that I've been able to make a living in existence without needing to cave to the mob and play to them and their fabricated strength, their faux strength. I didn't need to do that. I walk my own path always have, always will. And people make fun. People will make videos. I could give two shits. I'm still going to do what I do, what I want to do, and still going to walk my path. And yeah, it may not be for 100,000 views or whatever, but it's my path, and I can look myself in the mirror and I can look my God in the face. That's really the most important thing. Josh Vaskovich says, brilliant showcase of art, creativity, intelligence, and protest. I agree, Josh. Yeah, 100%. And there was meaning in everything. Like there was meaning in everything. I mean, him popping up like that when he was doing the song from that. It's all of it. It's just great stuff, man. Matt Sister McCall says, favorite rap song, 99 Problems or Power for me. 99 Problems is great. The Jay-Z one. That is, you can't deny that. Although I think HOV is probably my favorite. The public service announcement, I guess, is my favorite Jay-Z. Because that's my opening. That would be my entrance. If we ever do the Schmodown again, that is my entrance song for real. And Power is great. I love Kanye's Power. That is awesome. The multiple lyrics for Power are incredible. I thought the music video was a work of art. Again, before he lost his shit, Kanye was a true genius, an artist in so many ways. Favorite rap song? That's a great question. Shit, I don't know. I guess Fight the Power. I mean, that's not a surprise, right? That can't be a surprise. I mean, I heard that song in 1989 on the Do the Right Thing soundtrack, little cassette that I bought. I lost my ever-loving mind because I saw the movie. I was like, what the fuck is this song? And then I bought the soundtrack and I played Fight the Power over and over. I had to rewind. Kids, back then, cassettes, you had to rewind and hope you caught it. You had to rewind. Oh, shit. You had to rewind and then play it again. Rewind, play it again. So, yeah, I played the hell out. By the way, a damn good soundtrack. A soundtrack that isn't respected enough. A quietly damn good soundtrack from the 80s is the Do the Right Thing soundtrack. Even Ruben Blades has a really good song on that soundtrack. But yeah, from that moment, from Fight the Power, that's what got me into Public Enemy. And I went back and bought It Takes a Nation of Millions on CD, and then Fear of a Black Planet, Welcome to the Terror Dome. And then, they kind of dropped off from there. Every once in a while popped up. Chuck D follows me, or did follow me on Twitter. I don't know if he follows me anymore, but that was an awesome day when Chuck D followed me on Twitter. Because we do follow each other still. I love and respect Chuck, man. Chuck's my guy. So that day when I got followed by him, I was shocked, so shocked. So yeah, Fight the Power, and I think you know why, because I do fight the power, and the lyrics, in my own way, and the lyrics are just incredible. Even as a fan of John Wayne, as a fan of Elvis Presley, I still will rap that line, because I understand where it's coming from, which is this idea of, because John Wayne at times was racist, and Elvis, they felt, stole music from black people to make himself. Although I don't agree with that, I understand the sentiment. I still don't mind rapping it. All right. Of course, Michael Baldwin saying, we don't always agree, but that's okay. I watch you more than any other podcaster. Well, thank you, Michael. I appreciate that, man. It's very kind of you, bro. I know you go to plenty of other places, man. So I appreciate you being here. And let me know next time what we don't agree on, because I'm happy to have a conversation about that as well. Oh, Wayne. Thank you, Wayne. Oh, what's up, brother? Always good to see you. He says, I'm loving the live Outlaw Nation takes on what's going on in the world. You keep doing these, man. I'll be here. We don't agree on everything. Here's another. We don't agree on everything. But your voice is one that needs to be heard, brother. Thank you, Wayne. I appreciate it, man. It's very kind of you. And thank you for the very kind donation as well. I always love seeing you, man. I always love that picture of you, brother. It's a great picture of you. You look so happy, man. It's a really good one, dude. JMB says, let me be clear. So let me tell JMB, that's a great one to reference. That was going to be the song of the Outlaw Nation, right? Until I understood that you couldn't like pay for the rights and stuff. That was going to be the voice of my podcast, the Outlaw Nation podcast. That was going to be the intro song. And I think I used it for like a few months when I was on Christian's Network way back when. But then when he was moving it out of where it was at, he said we were going to get in trouble with rights issues and stuff. So I couldn't use it anymore. But yeah, I love that song. Let Me Clear My Throat. Yes, the remix with Biz Markie and Dougie Fresh. I mean, I will put that on right now and wrap the whole damn thing for you. So I love that song. And that's absolutely would be perfect for a podcast intro, Let Me Clear My Throat, So yeah, great choice, brother, man. I love that song. Let's see if there's anyone else. Okay, those are all the super chats, right? Let me see if any Streamlabs. Oh yeah, a couple of these have come through. Thank you so much. Corn Emperor says, F Snoop, MAGA a-hole. There is no shelter here. The front line is everywhere. Well said, Corn. Yeah, well said there, man, for sure. Nice stuff, dude. Thanks for sending that in. Appreciate that. I liked reading that too. Raya says, thanks for all the awesome discussions, man, on your channel. Always look forward to catching the shows live or on replay. Yeehaw! Thank you, Raya. I appreciate that. It's very kind of you. I always wonder if people are going to tune in and pay attention, and I'm always humbled that so many do and that so many watch. So thank you very much, Raya. You're the best. Dancing Dog 60 says, Outlaw, keep doing what you do. I've been a fan since the Collider days. Excelsior. Oh, and the Thunderbolts will probably be the best superhero film this year, but I hope that they're all good, as do I. You're probably right. The Thunderbolts is going to shock the world. But I hope they're all great. I hope tonight it's great. I hope Fantastic Four is great. Superman's great. And Thunderbolts are great as well. We will see. But yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Dancing Dog. I appreciate it, man. You're also the best. All right, I should wrap it up here, man. We are almost at 6 o'clock. I got to get going to see Captain America Brave New World. Don't forget, I will be doing my out-of-theater reaction, so that'll be up probably by 10, because the theater is about 15 minutes away, so I'll be able to come back home and edit and put it up for you all. So look for that later on tonight, and I will do my review whenever I guess the embargo's up. Maybe the embargo's up tomorrow, so I'll do a non-spoiler review maybe tomorrow. And then spoiler review, we'll probably do it with the Geek Buddies over the weekend sometime, or on Monday or Tuesday night of next week. So we'll let you know with all of that. But yeah, very excited to take a look at it and hopefully see it. Hopefully enjoy it rather tonight. So thanks everybody for hanging out. I appreciate it madly. Please remember to subscribe to the channel down below. Hit that bell button. Leave your comments as well down below if you're watching. I would appreciate that so much. Don't forget that the Outlaw Nation Podcast Network is available as well. If you want to re-listen to any of this, you don't want to be on YouTube or watch my face, you can listen to it on the Outlaw Nation Podcast Network that is there. All the stuff we do on the Outlaw Nation is on the Podcast Network except for the Hot Mic and the Geek Buddies. But everything else, Spill the Tequila, Jedi Way, all of that, my stuff, it's all on there. And I think I might be adding one show a week on the Outlaw Nation Podcast that is just the podcast. Maybe more than one. It all depends on how I feel, but maybe more than one where I'm just, I'm going to do a show like I used to do in the old days. Maybe gets people to be guests, to be interviewed because they don't have to worry about being on camera. So we'll see. I'm very close to making that decision and investing even more into the podcast network. So just subscribe to there on wherever you download a podcast. Would appreciate it. See my smiling face and my cowboy hat on there. Oh, fantastic. And want to show my support for the Rocha. Thank you, Fred. And also get to say we don't always agree on everything. Maybe that's the name of the new podcast show. We don't always agree on everything with John Rocha. That's not a bad idea, man. That's not a bad idea. I kind of like that name. So we'll see. That could be fun. But thank you all so much. Follow me, as I said, on all the social media you see there. If you want to send in support after you've seen the show, please hit that thanks button, send in some support, send in some money, some love, and to keep us going here, would appreciate it madly. And don't forget, we're going to have Geek Buddies later on this week. We're definitely going to review the Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man episodes. We'll have Hot Mic probably on Thursday. And I don't know if we're going to do a Jedi Way this week, but I'll reach out to Laura and Kevin and find out and see if they're in the mood for one. We shall see. But there'll be a lot of stuff coming content-wise over the next few days, starting with my reaction video tonight out of the theater from seeing Captain America Brave New World. All right, y'all take care of yourselves. Be well. I love you. And remember what I tell you at the end of every episode, especially I had to listen to my own advice this morning. Whatever you need to do to get through the next second, next minute, next hour, next day, next week, next month, next year. I want you to do it. I was listening to music, taking a walk, sitting there watching something that inspires you or puts your energy back into your body, taking a shower sometimes is the difference, or just sitting outside somewhere with a coffee and just letting those feelings wash over you and then wash through you and then wash out of you so you come back to center. As I said, it always feels like you're not going to get through it, but you always eventually do, don't you? So just remember that when you're in those places, you're going to climb through it. It happened for me around noon today. It was killing me all day. As soon as I went from 8 to 12, it was a rough emotional time for me. But then eventually by 12, the feelings dissipated. I was able to center myself a little bit more and get on with my day. So, you just never know. Those are the things you have to use your tools, be smart, and take care of yourself. It's very important. I know nowadays there's a lot of madness going on that can distract you and make you feel down. That's what they want to do to you. Don't let them do it. Fight harder. Take care of yourself. Love yourself. Get into a better place so you can function in the world. All right. I love you. I'll talk to you soon. Take care of yourselves. Be well. John Rocha out here on the Outlaw Nation. Peace, everybody.
I think the girls with their nails done now.